from different parts of the world to this very important nuclear conference. I take this opportunity to welcome all delegates, and I said this is a landmark international conference on nuclear energy. This conference is very crucial because the deliberations here will set a new paradigm for many countries, especially in the global south, on a critical source of energy. No country in the world has ever achieved its development ambitions without adequate and reliable energy. Energy is the lifeblood of industrialization, innovation, and economic transformation. It powers our factories, fuels our enterprises, and enables the productivity that drives growth and prosperity. It is for this reason that we in Kenya have made a deliberate and strategic decision to significantly expand our energy capacity and diversify the sources of that energy. From our current installed capacity of 3,300 megawatts, we are committed to scaling up by another 10,000 megawatts in the next 5 to 7 years. And I'm proud to announce that 3,000 of these megawatts, or 30%, will be generated from nuclear source. I had the occasion yesterday with my brother James Orengo in Siaya County to discuss with the people in Siaya what the opportunities that will be presented by this facility that will be hosted in Siaya County. As has been said, we have three locations, one in Kilifi, one in Kwale, and one in Siaya. The county that Orengo was referring to that initially declined, they have since changed their mind. And they've come back to me and say, is there any possibility or opportunity for us to reconsider our decision? I told them, it's too late. Wait for the next time. Consequently, Kenya plans to commence construction of a 2,000 megawatt nuclear plant in Siaya County from next year, with commissioning of the project in 2034. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not lost on me that the word nuclear often evokes fear and uncertainty in the minds of many. There is a perception that nuclear energy poses significant danger to human beings. This perception, while understandable, is not supported by any evidence. In fact, nuclear energy has been safely and reliably used for decades by the world's most advanced economies to power their development. France, for example, has relied on nuclear energy since the 1970s, which today accounts for 70% of its electricity generation. Similarly, the United States has operated nuclear power plants for over 60 years, with nuclear energy contributing nearly 20% of United States electricity mix and providing dependable baseload power. Here in Africa, South Africa stands as the continent's pioneer in nuclear energy, having begun generation in 1980s through the Koeberg Nuclear Power Station near Cape Town. With an installed capacity of about 1,860 megawatts, the facility has provided decades of safe and reliable baseload power, currently contributing up to 6% of the country's electricity supply. This experience demonstrates that nuclear energy is both feasible and sustainable when supported by strong institutions and sound regulatory frameworks. This is why nuclear energy and nuclear technology have been identified by the United Nations as key enablers in achieving the 17th Sustainable Development Goals. Beyond providing reliable power, nuclear energy offers several additional benefits for emerging economies such as Kenya, allow me to highlight a few. First, nuclear energy is clean. It provides virtually no greenhouse gas emissions, making it a powerful ally in our fight against the effects of climate change and in achieving our national carbon reduction goals. Second, nuclear energy is reliable. Nuclear power plants operate round the clock, providing stable and consistent supply of electricity that is crucial for industrial use and grid sustainability. Third, diversifying our energy mix with nuclear power reduces reliance on volatile fossil fuel markets, enhancing energy security and strengthening national resilience. I was having a conversation with James this morning, Minister for Energy, on the situation that is going on globally and the effects it's going to have on our net energy requirements. And fourth, the development of a nuclear power program brings significant investment in infrastructure, creates jobs from highly skilled engineers and technicians to support services, and facilitate the transfer of advanced technology, stimulating growth across multiple sectors of our economy. We all know that already we have a pool of engineers, not enough, but sufficient for us to begin this journey. The training has gone on in different parts of the world of the engineers that are now based in Kenya, training in the US, training in South Korea, and many other areas. And we are seeking to continuously train, and I was happy to hear from the chairman, Mr. Larry Gumbe, that now we are domesticating that training in our universities in Kenya and Tibet as well, so that we can train more engineers, more technicians to be able to underwrite and undertake this very important development. We are on course developing the first 1,000 engineers, very high-level engineers, and it is the reason why I did ask Professor Shokat, who is here with us, who was a senior director in IEA, to come and work with me in developing Kenya's high-quality human capital to be able to undertake projects like this. And I am very confident that under his stewardship, we have now a dedicated State Department for Research, Training, Innovation under Professor Shokat. And that will accelerate the training of the necessary human capital to undertake this great leap that we want to push our country. You've heard from many speakers here that we have made a conscious, deliberate, and strategic decision that we are moving our country to the first world. There are many variables. To Canaan, through Singapore, and many in between. But the destination is the same. The integration of nuclear energy into our national grid, therefore, represents a strategic transition towards securing a stable long-term solution for Kenya's rising electricity demand. With an operational lifespan of between 60 and 80 years and a capital recovery period of less than 20 years, nuclear power stands as a cornerstone of intergenerational sustainable development. And when I say that we have a rapidly rising demand, I witnessed it firsthand day before, in Homa Bay, in Homa Bay County, when we went to commission one of our transmission lines. And the information we got from the ground is that in this part of Kenya, in Homa Bay, there were many factories had relocated to a different place because there wasn't sufficient supply of energy. And when we completed the transmission line, within 2 months, consumption went up twofold. Same with what we did in Mombasa, when we energized the 400 kVA something in Mariakani. Again, the effect was immediate. It tells us there is a lot of constraints in our economy because of insufficient energy supply. And that is the reason why we are making this strategic decision that we want to triple our energy supply in Kenya. And we are making that strategic decision because we see the value in how that will take our transformation. By optimizing our energy mix through nuclear power, Kenya will realize a significant reduction in electricity costs of between 4 and 5.5 US cents a unit. It is very important. I did ask Mr. Magut, and for a moment I thought Mr. Magut comes from Kabianga. Told me he comes from Sweden because of his name. That it is the case that nuclear power is not only baseload, but it's available to us at half the current cost we are paying. We are paying an average of 9 US cents. We can significantly reduce that to between 4 and 5 US cents and make our economy competitive. And I have given in the energy space that we have to generate 10,000 megawatts. We don't have an option. And we are not talking up, 2034 is nuclear, but in between here, we have to accelerate generation. Hopefully, in the next 6 months, we should be able to generate 600 megawatts from LNG and onward to 1,000, maybe 200 megawatts in the next year. And we should be able to make much more progress in that direction. We did ask Parliament to remove the restrictions that had, and I talked to these two gentlemen. I also agree with the governor of Siaya that we need to move faster with the correct information before the fake news and the misinformation and the disinformation get to the people on the ground. And I think there is already a strategy that has been developed by the Ministry of Energy in consultation with all the other stakeholders. The government of Kenya has continually undertaken open and transparent engagement with all relevant stakeholders, including host communities, to ensure that the development of the nuclear power program remains fully aligned with the frameworks, protocols, and safeguard systems of the international nuclear regulatory regime, and the participation of the Director General of OECD countries nuclear in this meeting is significant comfort that we are working with partners who have proven track record on handling matters nuclear. Development, ladies and gentlemen, is for the people, and it must be done with the people. I urge all stakeholders, including county governments, to engage deeply with this program and to support officials and community leaders to understand and even to visit some of the areas that this program has successfully been implemented. To the people of Siaya County, the site of Kenya's first nuclear power plant, and specifically to my brother, the late Honorable Raila Odinga, who, as an engineer himself, took the lead in getting the people of Siaya to understand what this was all about. I encourage you to seek a deeper understanding of the immense economic benefits that this project will bring, from high-value jobs to infrastructure development. During the peak construction phase, the nuclear project will generate up to 10,000 jobs, ranging from high-skilled, high-specialized engineering roles and across the board to all other available engagements. Once operational, it will provide hundreds of permanent, well-paying technical positions. Local technical and vocational education and training institutions will see increased investment to equip residents with the skills needed to take up all the opportunities that will be available. In addition, to support a facility of this magnitude, the government and developers will undertake significant upgrades to local infrastructure, including roads and other facilities. And this will also include improved water supply systems, modern healthcare facilities, new schools, community centers, and enhanced telecommunication. Additionally, with thousands of workers living in the area, the project will stimulate local economy by increasing demand for housing, hospitality, retail, and agricultural produce, while enabling local enterprises to grow and scale. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya welcomes the COP28 declaration to triple global nuclear energy capacity by 2050, and Kenya will be in that equation. Achieving this ambition will require all nations to scale up their efforts and adopt concrete, realistic, and implementation plans. For this to materialize, we must also re-examine the financing architecture for nuclear power projects. While the private sector will play an increasingly important role, multilateral development banks, including the World Bank, have a critical role to play in assessing project bankability and providing affordable financing. This morning, in another occasion where we were discussing investment opportunities in Kenya, we were looking at how energy is going to be part of the incentives that the government of Kenya is going to offer to people who want to set up their factories, their operations in Kenya. And this morning, we signed deals of close to $3 billion in 10 counties, from Bungoma to Eldoret, to Kericho, to Nakuru, to Nairobi here, Kiambu, Kitui, Machakos, Kilifi, and Mombasa County. All these investments will mean that we need expanded energy requirements. And therefore, as we progress, it is inevitable for us to do this. I remember one occasion when I was privileged to, with President Joe Biden, to sign an agreement between Microsoft Kenya and G42 on data centers. And I was very happy when I came back to Kenya because I thought I had an investment of $1 billion to be set up in Kenya, until I was told that we need 1,000 megawatts to operationalize the data center. And when I looked at 1,000 megawatts, it meant I have to shut down half the country. So we've had to delay the investment for us to be able to generate enough energy to undertake that development. I therefore call on international organizations and other institutions to support the enabling conditions for nuclear energy development, including policy, capacity building, financing mechanisms, and the establishment of a level playing field for all zero-emission energy sources. Ladies and gentlemen, central to this journey is our commitment to establish a world-class regulatory framework aligned with the international best practice. We recognize that a robust, independent, and transparent regulatory system is the foundation of a successful nuclear program. And I have been informed that the regulator for nuclear is today domiciled at the Ministry of Health. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we will realign that to make sure that it is in the right place for it to undertake this very significant and consequential undertaking. Kenya will therefore enact comprehensive legislation and adhere to the highest global standards of nuclear safety, security, and safeguards as we build a regulatory framework that inspires both domestic confidence and international partnership. Kenya has continued to work closely with international partners, including the United States, in advancing the implementation of its nuclear power program. I remember having this conversation in my last visit to Korea with the President of South Korea. And I am very happy that in this meeting we have partners from the United States, from Korea, from France. And this morning, again, we had participants in the earlier meeting I was in the investment conference of countries from Europe, from the US, from China, from Singapore, from India, from Australia, again showing the collaboration across the board and the coming together of all actors for us to be able to fashion the transformation that is necessary for us to take our country to the next level. Through this collaboration, we have become a partner in the foundational infrastructure of responsible use of small modular reactor technology program, supporting the responsible development of nuclear energy. In addition, Kenya and the United States have signed a memorandum of understanding on strategic civil nuclear cooperation. Kenya is now on track to conclude the 123 agreement within the next 3 months. And therefore, I want to encourage all of us as we look into the future. I am very confident that we have built an ecosystem that is robust enough to support the development of nuclear energy as part of the development of all the other sources of energy, from geothermal through hydro to solar to wind. I was very happy when I got the brief on what is going on in Siaya, that our KenGen is going to take the lead in the implementation of this project, because KenGen has already built a lot of capacity over the last almost maybe 50 years. Whenever I speak in conferences and I say that we have probably one of the largest geothermal energy sources in Kenya, many people wonder that Kenya is a powerhouse in geothermal energy production. We are going to build on the capacity already existing in KenGen to be able to drive our progress into nuclear energy, because there is a lot that is shared by engineers from the geothermal space going into nuclear, and we build a pool of resources and capabilities that will enable us move faster. In any case, I have no doubt in my mind on the capacity of Kenyan human capital to undertake any assignment. We have, and I say this very proudly and without fear of any contradiction, we have one of the best human capital anywhere in the world, in Kenya. This is not to underestimate any other people, but just making a statement of fact. As I conclude, let me reaffirm that nuclear energy will be a true game changer for Kenya. It will sustainably and safely power our industries, accelerate our development, and propel us firmly on the path to a first world economy. In James's words to Canaan, in the words of the senator of Siaya, to Canaan through Singapore. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Another round of applause to His Excellency. Let us kindly take our seats briefly, very briefly. Your Excellency, I seek your indulgence